I'd like to talk to you about borders and freedom of movement, but not borders in Europe, the borders that have been erected in our cities and neighbourhoods throughout 2020. These roadblocks and so-called low traffic neighbourhoods have been installed by our councils and funded by Westminster with specific instructions to councils to remould our behaviour, force us out of our cars and encourage active transport, i.e. walking to the rest of us. The effects of these roadblocks have been drastic on many of us. They've paralysed many neighbourhoods, left elderly and disabled residents stranded in their homes, massively increased journey times. They've left people struggling to get to work, hospital appointments, care visits, pushed many local businesses to the brink of failure. Here in Hackney, our council's road closure programmes are the largest and most brutal in the country, with around 150, I think, being closed so far. Back in 2016, they consulted residents on road closures, many of the ones they've done now, and they were rejected by some 70%. But now, thanks to COVID legislation, the council has simply just imposed them on residents and effectively said, get used to it. It's for your own good, and we know what's best for you. That's been the main answer from them. But why should we get used to it? Why can't we choose how we get around? Cars, because that's what we're talking about, offer us choices and possibilities that for previous generations didn't exist. They offer a very real kind of freedom. They make it easier for us to get around, to get more things done in a shorter space of time, thus freeing up our time to do things we want to do. One of the groups that have been most seriously affected by these road closures have been working class women, who have families to balance, family life, children, shopping, working, looking after elderly parents and so on. And it's worth remembering that the car and excuse me, technology, as Millie and Garner were saying, pointing out about technology, that has been really played a real important part in helping to free women from domestic work. Horrendous Hackney road closures was formed by a group of young working class women with no experience or interest in politics before. And like other residents, they were just getting on with their daily lives when the council literally blocked their way. And when people asked why, the council said back to them, your car journeys are unnecessary. You are irresponsible. You're a rat runner. You can't be trusted. You should walk and get on your bike. And we know what's best. So the response by residents to this and the attack on their freedoms has been pretty inspiring, really. The group, Hackney Road Closures, Horrendous Hackney Road Closures, has grown to 8,000 members in 3 months. It's a network that's growing, it spans generations, it's cross-community, people from all backgrounds, religions, it's organised demonstrations, events and discussions, and people are starting to ask questions and debate. How do we hold our representatives to account? How does local democracy work? Should we run for election? Should we hold a referendum to abolish our mayor for something more democratic? So for national and local politicians, ordinary people are a problem to be managed or moulded and have their behaviour modified by people who supposedly know better. But far from being a drag on society, ordinary people are a solution to many of the problems we face today. We need more democratic participation, and even the most seemingly disinterested or disengaged people are alive to the possibilities of freedom and democracy, given the right circumstances. So despite today's announcements, I'm still very optimistic that we can rebuild our democracy from the bottom up. So we're 2 weeks away from a new decade. Another roaring 20s, perhaps? Well, it's entirely up to us. Thank you very much.